Hey guys, it's Kelsey. I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and today is Stretch the Sketch. So this is the sketch that Erica Breezy used to make this really sweet traveler's notebook layout. This month we had a really fun challenge for Stretch the Sketch. Usually every month we get a 12 by 12 sketch, and we need to change the proportion of it to a not 12 by 12. For this month, though, we had the challenge to go back to those sketches that we have used in the past, find someone else's layout who has already stretched this sketch, and use their layout and scrap lift it, but change the proportion once again. So I thought that was really cool. I loved using that sketch. I wasn't super happy with my particular layout for that sketch, so I kind of feel like this is my redemption for that month using Stretch the Sketch. I love what Erica did with her traveler's notebook. I really like the vertical lines and how she really kind of changed the sketch to make it more hers, and I really love her particular interpretation of it. So now I am going to take it and change the proportion to an 8.5 by 11, and then once again kind of tweak it. There won't be mixed media on my layout like there is hers, but I was very inspired by the bold black ink drops that she did on her layout. So I will carry that over into another layout this month where you'll see me do black ink blots because I really like that part of her layout. But for this particular one, I kind of knew I had scraps of different blues and light colors and some wood grain, and I ink wise, I only have black, and I just thought it'd be too heavy for this particular layout that I wanted to use for this sketch. So no mixed media on mine, but I will carry through the stripes the way she kind of did it. I do end up pulling in that really cool ribbon from Allie as one of my striped details. I really wanted to use washi. I kind of felt like maybe Erica used washi in a couple of hers. I'll have to go. I didn't rewatch her process video before doing this. I kind of just took the picture of her layout and ran with it. So I thought about maybe using washi, but once I kind of had my stripes figured out and what papers are going to be used, I thought it would be really cool to use the ribbon instead for one of my stripes. So that's kind of where I started. I have this 8.5 by 11 wood grain, and then I have a couple horizontal strips of this paper that I've decided to use for my layering. And I'm inking everything in my Catherine Pooler Stone Blue ink, which is really, really trying to die on me. But I'm really trying to get, I keep trying to eke out more layouts from this ink pad. So I just really want that really subtle blue kind of edge to all of these layers to really tie it in together. This photo is really, really cute. It's a photo of Avery sitting up all by himself with his little, I don't forget what you call those little pillows, but he just looks super cute. So I just wanted another photo of just him kind of documenting that he is sitting up now. And I thought it was kind of sweet. He's wearing this gray onesie, so I think it's pretty neutral, even though there's all the colored toys kind of in frame. But yeah, that's kind of what I decided to start with. So now that I have my 8.5 by 11 inked, I have all my strips inked, I'm going to space them out and get all of those secure. I did just trim this photo down to 4 by 4 and mat it in white. And then I also inked the white, so that kind of carries the blue into that area as well. But this is basically the background and the main part of Erica's layout I really wanted to compose were all of these strips. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of that glued down, and then I kind of go off on my own as far as embellishment after this. I really did like on Erica, she has these arrows coming in from opposite corners of the page along the top and bottom, and I thought that was really cool. And because on one of these pattern papers there's moons and stars, I had moons and stars, like several of them, on the sticker sheet still. So I will kind of replicate that, but not in this chevron kind of way. I kind of just decide to do a moon and a star in opposite corners, just as a nod to her design. So that's kind of how I decided to do that. But I have my strips down, and now I'm just using my Tombow Mono multi-glue to glue down the trim. I love this glue for this kind of stuff. It just works great. And I kind of decide, I kind of hem and haw where I want them. I decided to do at the bottom of each of the moon printed papers. So I like that spacing, but you'll see where my photo lays, it covers up like a chunk of that top one. So I will end up trimming what is covered and adding that ribbon into one more area of the page. That kind of gives me 3 pops of that yellow trim, which is really cute. I really wanted to use white thickers for this, but I was missing a lot of the letters I needed. I needed to say sitting up, which obviously uses 2 T's, an S, an N, 2 I's, a G. Like every letter that's in sitting up, other than the U maybe, are really popular letters. So it's kind of hard for me to find a set that had all of them. But I had this multicolor rainbow set that Christina sent me. I'm pretty sure this is from the kit that Ronnie sent me for a wedding present, I'm pretty sure. But it's a Cocoa Vanilla These Days Puffy Alpha, and I thought it was so sweet, and the colors were pastel and matched the moon print perfectly. So I just decided to use those instead. So on this wood grain, it does look like it's kind of hard to see from this top down view, but I have sitting up in the rainbow alphas on this neutral wood grain leading into where my photo will sit. So that I'm just counting that as my title. There's not a whole lot to say about this other than Avery looks adorable and he's sitting up. So now that I have that, I'm kind of doing the whole corner thing based off of Erica's layout. So I decided to do a moon and the star in each corner, but I decided to make it a little different and pop up a different element in each one. So the lower left-hand corner, I put the moon directly down on the page and then popped up the star. And so the star is kind of sitting on the moon. And then in the upper right-hand corner, I put the star directly on the layout and popped up the moon. So it kind of looks like the moon is hugging the star. I think it's just really sweet, but I kind of like that difference in how those elements are the same, but they're kind of different, and I like that. So I have my 2 corner elements, and this kind of sets me up for how I continue to embellish. I already have this diagonal thing going on with the moons and the stars, so and I definitely want there to be more layers behind the photo itself without covering up my horizontal strips. So I decided to just layer with my cut aparts and die cuts and stickers instead of adding more paper. So now that I have this down, I'm kind of looking at where my photo's sitting and what I want to add, and I think it would look really cute with a tag coming up from the top of it. And so I pretty much just decided to pick out a color I wanted to incorporate, and this soft green I hadn't really incorporated yet, but some of these moons kind of have a green tinge to them. So I think that's a cool color to kind of tie in. And it's also almost the identical color to his little dinosaur toy that's in front of him in the photo. So I kind of like that that's tying it into the rest of the layout. But anyways, I didn't really need the sentiment on the tag. I just needed the top of it. So I trimmed it off, and now I want to layer a couple things behind it just to add some interest. And there's this blue ticket piece in the die cut set, and so much of it was going to be covered by the tag. I just cut the ticket in 2, and so it looks like there's 2 tickets, and I just layered the ends over each other, and I think that looks really cute. This is where I think I'm like, oh, I need to thread the tag. I want to use the same ribbon to thread the tag, and then, oh, like, I have all this ribbon, I covered it with my photo, I'm just going to use that. So that's kind of my thought process and why I decided to just take the photo off and save this piece that was going to be covered up anyways, because it's really about the same size that I needed for this to begin with. So I'm just going to thread that and glue the tips down so they don't really move. I didn't want to have to tie this twine or anything, so I'm just kind of gluing the tails in place so it stays where I want it to. I'm just giving the glue a little bit of a chance to get tacky before I stick it down so the glue doesn't get messy. But while that's going on, I'm kind of revisiting, because I know I'm a 12 by 12 scrapper. These 8.5 by 11s I always mat on a 12 by 12 so they can go in my book. I really, really wanted to use this rainbow paper for my background, but once I put this layout back on the rainbow paper, it all of a sudden looked way too busy. Originally, when I had decided to use this as my background, I just had the 8.5 by 11 wood grain, and obviously just the wood grain on this paper looked really, really nice. But now that I've added all of this stuff, it was way too busy, and the B side of the rainbow paper is a really sweet navy polka dot, and this page is kind of accidentally led into all of the blue colors anyways. So I think I'll end up using the B side of the rainbow, sadly, but I have an 8.5 by 11 chunk I can gut from that, so I will still be able to use the rainbows on other layouts. But you can see I really wanted to use the rainbows, but after I put it back on the navy, I was like, yeah, it has to be on the navy. I thought about using a 12 by 12 piece of white, but that looked way too plain, and so I was like, okay, like it has to be on the navy. It's just the best option. So now that I know it's going to be on navy, I'm kind of thinking of some navy elements I can pull in. I'm like, if I'm going with the heavy blue theme with pops of yellow, I might as well add more blue. So there's a couple word stickers. The Heaven Sent is in that same navy, so I really like pulling that in. This little star sticker is in the same color as the tag, so I think that ties in really nicely. There's a Cute and Cuddly, which I thought was really sweet, that I popped up on some foam to add to that tag cluster, which is a nice sentiment. I think because the title does kind of blend in more than I would like it to on this wood grain, I wanted some kind of text that your eye was drawn to, so the Cute and Cuddly I think is really nice. And then now I'm like, okay, finishing touches, what do I want to do? These are also from Ally. These really sweet frosted enamel type dots. So I'm just adding those to the two clusters with the moon and the star too, just so those are also kind of mirrored and balanced. But this is where I really tried to be done with this page, and I was like, it's not done yet, like something's missing from it. I took a moment just to get my 12 by 12 and 8.5 by 11 matted, so this is where I'm gutting the rainbow paper and gluing down the wood grain and kind of getting it all secured over a 12 by 12 piece of black. But as you can see, I'm really trying to be done, and it's just not looking done. And the thing that's bothering me is that the title is kind of all by itself. There's nothing to kind of grab your attention to the title. I have so much embellishment from the photo going up to the top cluster, but no embellishment going from the photo down to the bottom cluster. So I thought it'd be really nice just to complete this diagonal line of embellishment by adding one more cluster to the left of the photo. I thought that would solve a lot of problems as far as like getting your attention to the title, but I think it kind of fixed everything I was having issues with, and gave me one more focal point to make me feel like the page was done. So once I get all of this glued together, you'll kind of see me revisit that one area and add another cluster, and I'm really, really happy with it after I finish that. I thought about fussy cutting one of those rainbows to use, and then I realized I still had a rainbow sticker, so I figured I'd save myself the work and use this rainbow sticker from the sticker sheet and have that be the focal point of this cluster down here, which I think is really cute. There is a blue cloud I was really wanting to get on this page and didn't really get the opportunity to. So now that I'm adding this last cluster, and I'm also trying to use the random bits from the sticker sheet. I don't want a bunch of those left over at the end of the month. So there's this pacifier that has all the colors from this particular rainbow in it. That I'm going to add next to the Cute and Cuddly, so that there's all this colors kind of balancing the photo as well. So I am popping the rainbow up on some foam. I will layer it on top of this little cloud here, and I think that's really sweet. As I was looking at it, I felt like it was still missing something. I wanted a yellow element, and one of the scrap pieces of one of these papers that I did the horizontal stripes from, there was still a yellow star that was in it. So I decided to fussy cut the yellow star and layer it up behind the rainbow just so it had a little friend. I like how all these little elements kind of have friends. Each moon has a star, and then the rainbow has a little star. I think it's really cute. But yeah, just finishing up this final thing. There's that scrap. I'm just going to fussy cut this yellow star because I was looking for a yellow star on the sticker sheet and in my ephemera and couldn't find one. And then I was like, I can make my own. So I'm going to trim this up really quick and glue that down. And then since I did add this extra element, I really wanted to use these frosted enamel dots in a third area, but I didn't really have another area until now. So I will go back and add 2 of them in that little cluster too. So everything's kind of complete and rounded out, and I really like this. So I was really happy I got to take Erica's inspiration and kind of change it again. And I feel like I changed it a lot, but hopefully you guys can see the inspiration that I picked up from her. Make sure you check out the description to see what everyone else did, who they scrap lifted, and how they changed their sketch. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.